Washington, D.C., a striking political divide is widening between former President Donald Trump and his one-time loyal Vice President Mike Pence. As the world continues to grapple with the long-running war in Ukraine, rising economic uncertainty, and the aftershocks of the January 6th Capitol riot, the two Republican leaders are now publicly at odds on nearly every front, from international diplomacy to domestic economic policy. This week, Trump sparked fresh debate when he suggested during an Oval Office briefing that peace between Ukraine and Russia might finally be within reach. His comments, made against the backdrop of falling oil prices and a shifting geopolitical landscape, marked yet another turn in his unpredictable foreign policy rhetoric. I think Russia, with the price of oil right now, oil has gone down, we are in a good position to settle, Trump told reporters. They want to settle. Ukraine wants to settle. But if Trump's comments were meant to signal a step toward diplomacy, Pence wasted no time in delivering a pointed rebuttal. If the last 3 years teach us anything, it's that Vladimir Putin doesn't want peace. He wants Ukraine, Pence said in an interview with CNN's Caitlin Collins. It was one of Pence's most comprehensive and scathing critiques yet of the man he once served under, and a reminder that the Republican Party remains deeply divided as it looks toward future elections. The war in Ukraine. Trump's optimism versus Pence's warning. Trump's remarks came just days after global oil prices dipped by more than $15 per barrel, a steep decline that has put new pressure on the Russian economy, which relies heavily on oil exports to fund its military operations. In his Oval Office comments, Trump tied the economic downturn to a potential opening for diplomacy. We've come a long way, and it could be something will happen, but hopefully it will, he said. To some observers, the former president's words reflected a pragmatic view, one that sees economic leverage as a pathway to peace. Trump has often argued that the West's strongest tool against Russia is not military might, but economic pressure. But Pence, ever the traditionalist on foreign policy, strongly disagreed. In his CNN interview, he framed the situation in stark terms. Ukraine has agreed to ceasefire terms multiple times, but Putin continues to delay and give excuses. The wavering support the administration has shown over the last few months has only emboldened Russia, Pence said. This sharp disagreement isn't merely rhetorical. It's a reflection of two competing visions of America's role in the world. Trump's America First realism versus Pence's Reagan-style belief in moral clarity and global leadership. From allies to adversaries, a fractured relationship. The falling out between Trump and Pence didn't happen overnight. For 4 years, Pence was the calm, obedient vice president, rarely contradicting Trump, even amid controversies and crises. But everything changed on January 6th, 2021. That day, Pence refused to comply with Trump's pressure campaign to block certification of Joe Biden's election victory. What followed was a violent mob storming the Capitol, some chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," as he was escorted to safety by Secret Service agents. Pence's decision to fulfill his constitutional duty may have cost him his political alliance with Trump, but it earned him the John F. Kennedy Profile in Courage Award, which he accepted this month in a ceremony that symbolized his return to the national prominence. During his interview with CNN, Pence reflected on the events of that day and voiced deep disappointment over Trump's later decision to pardon about 1,600 individuals convicted in connection to the January 6th attack. I was deeply disappointed to see President Trump pardon people that engaged in violence against law enforcement officers that day, Pence said. That decision sent the wrong message. Trump has repeatedly justified the pardons, arguing that many of the rioters were patriots who were unfairly treated. His critics, including Pence, see it as an alarming endorsement of political violence. Economic anxiety, tariffs, trade, and toy prices. If the Ukraine war reveals one layer of division, Trump and Pence's competing economic visions reveal another, one that may soon have tangible consequences for American families. In his second term, Trump has doubled down on tariffs, imposing broad-based levies on imports from both adversaries and allies. He recently initiated a 90-day pause on most foreign exports to the U.S. in response to international market volatility. While Trump defends these moves as necessary to protect American industries and workers, Pence believes the strategy is misguided. These tariffs are not a win for the American people, Pence said. They are essentially a new industrial policy that will result in inflation, harm consumers, and ultimately harm the American economy. He warned that the full impact of the tariffs has yet to be felt, and that price shocks and shortages could soon hit American households. Even the administration, he pointed out, has acknowledged the risk. Keeping our kids' toys affordable, that really is part of the American dream, Pence added, referencing Trump's own flippant remark that American children might have to settle for $2 instead of 30. Canada and the 51st state joke. As tensions mount over trade, Pence also criticized Trump's increasingly antagonistic posture toward traditional allies, including Canada. During a recent rally, Trump joked that he'd like to annex Canada as the 51st U.S. state, a comment that drew laughter from the crowd but raised eyebrows among policymakers and diplomats. Pence, however, took a more serious tone. Canada is a great ally whose soldiers have fought and died alongside Americans in every war since World War I, he said. That deserves our respect, not jokes. The remark was yet another example of the rhetorical split between Trump's populist bombast and Pence's more measured diplomatic tone. The political stakes, a party in flux. As the 2026 midterms approach and speculation swirls about the 2028 presidential race, the public rift between Trump and Pence is becoming more than a personality clash. It is a battle for the soul of the Republican Party. Trump retains a powerful grip on the GOP base. His rallies draw massive crowds, and his supporters remain fiercely loyal. His policy of America First continues to dominate the party's platform, from foreign policy to trade, immigration, and crime. Pence, on the other hand, represents a more traditional conservative vision, one grounded in constitutional principles, international alliances, and economic orthodoxy. Political analysts say this divide reflects a broader identity crisis within the Republican Party. Is it the party of Reagan or the party of Trump? Can it be both? There's no question that Trump redefined the Republican brand, said political strategist Maria Henson. But Pence is trying to reclaim it. The big question is whether there's still room for that kind of leadership in the GOP test of character and consequence. Pence's interview wasn't just a critique, it was a call to reflection. By invoking the courage it took to certify the 2020 election results under threat, and by rejecting policies he once supported, Pence is staking his future on principle. Whether that will resonate with voters remains to be seen. Trump, for his part, shows no signs of backing down. He continues to speak confidently about restoring American strength, bringing peace to Ukraine, and defending U.S. manufacturing, even if it means trade wars and rising prices. His supporters argue that Trump's brash tactics are exactly what America needs in an uncertain world. "We've had enough weakness," said one Trump supporter outside a recent rally. "Trump's not afraid to stand up to anyone, Russia, China, even NATO." But Pence and his allies worry that this kind of leadership is short-sighted and dangerous. "The world is watching us," Pence said. "Our allies are watching. Our enemies are watching. And the American people deserve steady, principled leadership." As America navigates another era of global tension and internal division, the clash between Donald Trump and Mike Pence offers a window into the nation's political crossroads. One offers a brash populist approach rooted in nationalism and defiance of norms. The other calls for constitutionalism, alliance building, and economic restraint. Both claim to represent the future of conservatism. But in a party increasingly defined by personality over policy, only one may survive the primary battlefield. In the months to come, voters, lawmakers, and world leaders alike will be watching to see which vision ultimately prevails.